Hey, online sellers, JB Malik from HonestOnlineSelling.com. Hope you're having a great 2010 holiday season. And before we continue with this video, I want to draw your attention to our blog. It's HonestOnlineSelling.com. If you haven't yet, please go there, check it out, subscribe to our free newsletter. Within the blog, there's a lot of great free videos and free information. If you're starting out as an eBay or Amazon seller, or even if you're an advanced eBay or Amazon seller, there's some great free tips and information in there for you. Today I want to show you how I make 100% or more profit by buying items for low prices on eBay and then turning them around and selling them high on Amazon.com or even back on eBay itself. This process of buying low and selling high, a fancy name for it is called auction arbitrage or online arbitrage. And arbitrage is just a fancy term that's used by the nerds in the stock market to basically a word for capturing the idea of buying low and selling high. So what arbitrage essentially is in this sense is finding out what's a hot seller. It really doesn't have to be a hot seller at all. It can be any item that sells on Amazon, and then figuring out what sells well, and then turning around and back on eBay and finding it for a bargain price or on an auction, snapping it up at a high price, and then snapping it up for a good price, and turning around and selling it on Amazon for a profit. So these items that you can profit from can frequently be purchased for a very low price on eBay because the eBay seller has made some mistakes. So one common mistake is the eBay has an error in the title of their listing. So they've made a spelling error or a typo. And eBay's search engine for buyers typically, for the most part, is not advanced enough to recognize those mistakes. So say if you're selling an iPad and you misspelled iPad, maybe you had iPad with two D's at the end. eBay, if a buyer goes on there and searches for iPad, they're not going to see your listing because you have a misspelling in the title. So the other method that you can profit from is when the seller doesn't know what the worth is of what he or she is selling. So if the seller is typically a seller of vintage antiques and all of a sudden they start selling electronics, well, they might not know exactly what they're putting up on eBay, and that gives you an opportunity to use their lack of knowledge in your favor and buy the items at a low price. The most common one is when sellers make their eBay listing unattractive. And unattractive is kind of a basic term, but what I mean is when they've used poor photos, that attracts less attention and less bidders. When they have a high shipping charge, that attracts less attention and less bidders. If their auction ends at 3 o'clock in the morning, typically many people aren't up bidding at that hour, so that gives you an opportunity to snap up the item at a low cost. And there's other reasons like a high starting bid or short auction length that make their listing less it has less chance of selling for a high price. So that gives you an opportunity to buy the item low. You can profit by buying these mistake items on eBay and selling them for a huge profit on Amazon. And that is because the seller's mistakes combined with a higher spending customer on Amazon means there's a bigger selling price for you and a bigger profit. So here are some of my own examples. Here is a Batman figure that I bought on eBay for $10. And you'll see this is my eBay username here. And I bought it for $10. I paid $9 for shipping. And the mistake the seller made was making the starting bid too high. The starting bid of $9.99, I was the only bidder. Typically people that are going to be competing with other buyers for action figures, they like to bid on items that have a low starting bid. So for an action figure, this is arguably a high dollar amount, and I was able to buy this, and I was able to turn it around and sell it on Amazon for, here we go, for $40 plus shipping. Okay, so here you'll see my seller name, Honest Online Selling, up here. And this is the item, Justice League. Whoops. Let's bring that back in focus. Justice League large figure Batman here. And this is the selling price, $39.99. Okay, here's another example. This is a very popular car, toy car. And again, I'm talking about toys here, but this arbitrage method can be applied to any industry that you like. If you're into vintage jewelry, if you're into electronics, if you're into CDs, if you're into clothing, this can be applied to any industry. I just happen to get a lot of enjoyment out of buying and selling toys. So here's a popular toy with kids. It's called the Batman Tumbler Stealth Launch Batmobile. And one mistake that the seller made was not putting the word Batmobile in here because that's what it's commonly referred to. So when I bid for it, I didn't have any competition, and I got it for $5 plus $7.50 shipping and handling. And I was able to receive that, so the total for $13. And I turned around and I sold it on Amazon for $42.95. So you're talking about well over 150% profit margin. Okay, here's another example. There's a few mistakes here the seller made on this one. Again, I was the only bidder. I paid $10 for the item. Now I happen to know that this is a highly collectible Spider-Man figure. He made two mistakes in the title. One is the height of the figure is actually 18 inches, and that's typically used in the search query for this figure. It's called the 18-inch posable Spider-Man. He also spelled posable wrong. So I was the only bidder. I was able to receive it for $20 total. And then I received the item and I sold it. Again, here's my receipt from Amazon, the buyer invoice rather. And here it is I sold it for $39 plus shipping and handling. Okay. Here's the item title, Spider-Man posable action figure. And here's my seller name. And so I was able to, after shipping and handling and Amazon's fees, maybe about an 80% profit margin for that item. Here's another item. Here's a Batman Begins figure. This is also an extremely rare action figure. It's 31 inches tall. It's brand new in the box. Seller made the couple mistakes. The photos are a little bit blurry. And the other mistake they made was starting the bid too high. The starting bid was $29.95. I had a few competitors, but I won the item at $32 plus $14.25 shipping and handling. And this I was able to sell on Amazon for $139.95. Okay. Here's another example. This is a Department 56 Christmas in the City display. Of course, it's close to the holiday season, so this is going to be kind of appealing for somebody. The seller made a couple mistakes on this one, one of them being the shipping charge would deter a lot of buyers from competing for this because the only shipping charge that they are offering is $27.50. So actually, after I won the item, I was able to negotiate the shipping charge down. I said, I don't need it expedited. Can you ship it parcel post? And they did for about half the amount of money. So I spent about $120, and I was able to turn this around on eBay and flip it for $229.95. And you'll see that I did a few things. One is the seller had some lackluster photos of the item. You see the shadows and they're blurry, etc. And my listing had much clearer photos. Okay. And I was also able to offer a very reasonable shipping charge, and I was also able to provide a money back guarantee, which the seller didn't have. So even when the seller says no returns accepted, a lot of buyers are going to not take the risk to buy the product. So I was able to make about $100 profit margin on that item. And here's another example. Here's another mistake that some sellers will make is the starting bid starts too high. So there was only one bid for this item. This is just like the Batmobile you saw earlier, except this one is new in the box. And I know this is a highly collectible item. So the winning bid was $44.99. It was the only bid by me, but the starting bid was also $44.99. So typically people that are buying this, they're going to be buying it for a gift, but they're going to be discouraged when they see this. They're going to say, gee, the starting bid is $44.99. I don't have a chance in hell of getting that, so I'm not going to bother bidding at all. And I did, and you'll see from the receipt that I sold this for $139.95. So well over 130 to 150% profit margin after Amazon sellers fees. Let's show you another example here. Here is an 18-inch Spider-Man, just like the one you saw earlier. This is brand new in the box. Same mistake as the Batmobile seller is that they started the bid too high. And I was the only bidder, and I was able to purchase this for about $60 total, including shipping. And you'll see that on Amazon, you'll see that these go for a lot more money. So I paid $60, and you'll see here that new in the box on Amazon is $190. I'll probably sell mine for a little bit less. I think that's too much of a high price. So I'll probably sell mine for about 150, and even then you're looking at 150 to 175% profit margin. So I hope you enjoyed those examples. I want to just recap, and you can also do buying and selling like I've done. What you'll need is an eBay seller account if you don't have one already. Of course, that's free. Anybody can sign up to be an eBay seller. You'll need an Amazon seller account if you wish to sell your items on Amazon, and that's also free. And here's a URL, web address that you can type in that takes you right to the Amazon selling sign up page. It's tinyurl.com/Amazon-selling. And last, this is optional, but I recommend it highly. This is a book that shows you everything you need to know about the buying and selling method I just showed you. It's called Auction Arbitrage. It's available at this web address, bit.ly/eBay Amazon, one word. And it's $27, but it's got a 60-day money-back guarantee, and it tells you everything you need to know and all the tricks of the trade to buy and sell items online for huge profits. I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, if you haven't already, please go to honestonlineselling.com, sign up for the free newsletter. I wish you continued success. Do great things, do great stuff, and we'll see you at the next video. Have a great day.